It's another day, another walk with the cats. I never walk alone. And so I'm showing you today in this video 5 wildflowers that are probably blooming in your area that you should look for. Definitely worth stopping by the side of the road to take a picture, take a sniff, or take a sample. So let's jump in, and I'm gonna keep walking with my buddies and try to avoid getting completely wet. Thankfully, most of the video is taken on a drier day than this. Truth in advertising here. While I plan to only talk about wildflowers and tell you all the benefits, this turned into a little adventure with cats and dogs and all kinds of things that just happened. I'm going on my walk. I try to get a walk every day, and I often get to take a walk with all my kitties. You see them behind me? I have the kitty train. So far I see 1, 2, 3, possibly 4. Well, today I have a new surprise, and that is a new little friend. I don't know where he came from. Where did he go? There he is. He's trying to make friends with the cats, and they're not too sure that they want to be friends with him. He just showed up. He's looking kind of friendly, and he decided he wanted to take a walk with me. So I'm trying to find out who he belongs to in our little town. Meanwhile, we're trying to juggle who's going to be friends with whom. Do I look fierce and vicious? No, I don't. I don't really look too fierce. He says, let's go for a walk. And the kitties say, I don't think so. We'll come back to the kitty-doggy drama, but for now, let's take a look at those wildflowers that are growing around me and around you. It's a late summer walk. Not quite to early fall, but that feels like a change in the air. And I debated whether I was going to make a video, and then I saw something and I said, well, I just have to show you. Just noticed this tree. I've never seen it here before. But of course it's not on my property. It's like right next door. And I'm so mad because the property next door has the Spicebush. The Spicebush is one of my favorites. And it has these wonderful leaves, and if you crush them, it smells so delicious. It's not quite like lemony pledge, but it smells so fresh and nice, and I just love the smell of it. And then it makes these berries that people used to grind and use as a spice. They would dry the berries, and they put out, I think they say that it gives off the spice or the scent of like allspice, and they would it's a poor man's allspice. This is what the leaves look like, and here are some of the berries. Some are still green, and then you would think they would all kind of ripen at once, but they don't. And here we have our new little friend. I don't know where he came from, but he's so friendly and sweet. He decided to take a walk with me, and I have also 5 cats in my entourage, and here is one of them. She's sticking close to me, and she's riding part of this way on my shoulders, and so it's just a lot of fun. I do love the Spicebush, and yeah, everywhere I go in the forest, I look for Spicebush, and so far I've never found one on our property, and so I'm feeling really gypped because right next door, there it is. Look at this gorgeous Spicebush with all the berries on it. I just love this. This is my favorite bush, I believe. And I always try to seek it out when I'm hiking. The berries smell amazing, and you can dry them for a substitute for allspice. And then the leaves have a fresh lemony scent. I just love it. Here's a couple of those berries for the Spicebush. You do have to dry them, and then you grind them into a powder. And I've only heard about it, but I think this year I'm going to try it because why not? Here they are. What I do need to look up is whether you crush the whole berry or if you just get the seed, because I'm crushing it and I see that there's a black seed inside. So this is some information that I need to find out. always learning every single day. In addition to being referred to as poor man's allspice, the spicebush is often also referred to as Appalachian allspice because it grows so abundantly in this region. So the Appalachian people used the twigs, buds, flowers, leaves, unripe and ripe fruit. So the berries, when they're red, have the most concentrated form of the flavor and the smell. But it was kind of interesting that it can be used to make a tea and season food and baked goods. People used them during the American Revolution, and they used it as a substitute for allspice. And then during the Civil War, apparently the soldiers drank spicebush tea as a substitute for coffee when rations were low. The Native Americans used twigs, shoots, and bark, and they used other parts of it to season their food. I will link a blog article that cites some of this information, plus all sorts of fascinating things about spicebush. I just want to collect some and make some tea and maybe try drying some of those berries. This is how it goes on my walk. 5 cats and a dog. It's okay, come on. And here is how it goes. This one, she decided she didn't really want to walk with the doggy, but she'll walk up here as long as I walk. So this is quite the balancing act. One of the ways that I know summer is coming to an end is when I see the Jewelweed in full bloom. And it's been gearing up for the last couple of weeks, but now it is this lovely mauve color, and this is a small one. Usually they're way up over my head, and I don't know much about the Jewelweed as far as medicinal value, but I do know that it's pretty and it's cheery and the butterflies love it. And to me, it always reminds me of the shape of a toilet brush, one of those long, not a toilet brush, but a duster, one of those dusters that put up in your rafters. So lots of Jewelweed in bloom behind me, and I love that. And when the Jewelweed comes, then you see things like Goldenrod, Ironweed, and Jewelweed. And we're going to see some of those things today. To watch to make sure my cats don't get lost, because even though we are on the end of a dead-end road, and the cats could technically find their way up, it's a pretty long journey up through the forest, and so I don't want to leave them hanging. I started out this walk with 5 cats in my entourage and this little peanut of a dog who is so friendly, but he's causing all kinds of grief with my cats. I can't believe it, but we already see a leaf that's changing color. And this is a maple leaf that's obviously fallen early, but it just lets us know that fall is coming. Here's little Squirt. She doesn't go too far. Uh-oh, she wants to see what the doggy's doing. They pretend that they're bitter enemies, but I think they would be friends before long if she doesn't spend all her time in the tree. He is so curious about them. Aren't you? I've been seeing a ton of mushrooms today, and not the kind that you eat. I haven't seen any that seem edible, and the only one I really know to eat is the chanterelle. So even though I love to see these are not some that I would eat. You're causing trouble, little buddy. Come on. And now she's gonna do the Halloween cat thing. She's not really too interested in becoming friends just yet with this little guy. Oh no. I don't know if you'll be able to see it. We have another cat in the tree. It's Chuck. One little doggy has managed to get all the cats in the tree. Does he look scary or what? He certainly is interested in the cats, and so far he hasn't seemed like he's all that confrontational, although they are certainly confrontational. As the cat drama unfolds, I'm just going to keep walking. I promised myself 45 minutes, and that's what I'm going to do. On our property, on the one side, it's forested land, and it's moss, and nothing's really much in bloom. The property across the street, they have these wonderful big leaf magnolias, which in the summertime make some lovely white flowers that are very aromatic, just like the regular magnolias. We have a couple of those on our property, but not anywhere that we can get to very well. They really like to be by the water, and there's a wet weather creek that flows through here, so I get to see it when I come down to the road to walk. This is really crazy, but this walk has turned into quite the drama. I have cats up the driveway out of sight that are screaming like they're dying. I used to think that this yellow flower was a part of the goldenrod family, but I've recently learned that it's called tall tickseed, and it's a variety of coreopsis. The jewelweed is not only beautiful and delicate, but it's also very useful if you get into poison ivy. Crush the leaves and rub them onto your skin. In our area, it is the time for the elderberries to be harvested. This is not elderberry, this is pokeweed, which is toxic unless properly prepared. I don't really recommend it. I only mention these herbs because there has been some confusion recently in a forum that I was on, and you just need to know your herbs before you consume them. Here's more of that Joe Pye weed, which I have learned is good for respiratory illnesses, but again, look it up. It's a gorgeous day and there are quite a few wildflowers, but I'm noticing that someone has been here recently with a bush hog and trimmed, 6 feet on both sides of our road. And so unfortunately that really trimmed back a lot of the usual wildflowers that I see. But I was able to see some, and I do see some behind us, and there's one more that I want to show you. I like this plant because it is native to our area. It's not only native to the Appalachian region, but this is a nice one and it makes a good tea. It smells like horehound or eucalyptus actually, and it's called the hoary mountain mint. And it's all the leaves, when they get mature, they get that powdered sugar coating on them, and it looks like I don't know. I guess it looks like the hoarfrost in the Bible, like what it talks about. Here's a nice example of the hoary mountain mint and how white it looks compared to all the greenery around it. And here is the alarm sounding from Squirt. Yeah. One of the plants that we always see in the fall along this road is a dark purple, very beautiful purple, like an eggplant purple ironweed, and they grow very tall, and I love to see them with the goldenrod. Right now it looks like they've been cut down by the mowers. Oh well, mowers have their job too. Let's check over here because there's usually a huge patch of jewelweed in this area, and I love to come down here in the fall and look at it. It does not disappoint. So not only do we have jewelweed, which is buzzing with bees, we also have some of the traditional goldenrod, which makes such a pretty contrast when you look at it with that ironweed that I mentioned, and then also the jewelweed. So the jewelweed dangles like a little pendant on the green leaves, and it's a very good plant for knowing if you're out and about and get exposed to poison ivy. Get some of those jewelweed leaves and squish them up. You can even chew them up, rub them on your skin, and it really helps to take the itch out of the poison ivy. And oftentimes we're told that they grow together. The goldenrod is good for respiratory things. It's kind of a bitter plant, but it is a beautiful fall weather plant. Because I'm down here and the sun is in my eyes, I have no idea what I'm going to be able to show you on this part of the video, but I really believe that this is an ironweed plant that just hasn't bloomed yet. Okay, it didn't happen on the walk because I didn't reach that part of the road, but this is just down the road, and these are the cardinal flower. It's a type of lobelia. I don't know that they have any medicinal value, but the hummingbirds love them, and this is one of my favorite fall wildflowers because they are just so crimson red and they light up the side of the road. I'm sure that if you keep your eyes out as you drive along a country road, you'll see a lot of these similar flowers. Here we finally have some ironweed and goldenrod as I drive along, and here's a whole big field of ironweed, plus it has some of the cardinal flowers back by the creek mixed in with goldenrods and other fall wildflowers.